Life Imprints Podcast. Legacy stories that live beyond. Turn up the volume on today's riveting story with your host, Kenny Mauck, at kennymauck.com. And leave your life imprint with your legacy story.
This is the second podcast we're doing on my family. It's in the book. It's called Under Influencers, Leaving Your Life Imprint. And under family influence, I put in the book two really special people. Also, other than my parents, is my sister, my brother-in-law, and this is Brad, Rainwater, and Candy. And they have been extremely important to my life. I remember coming to Flint, not having too many. I was finishing my bachelor's degree in University of Michigan, and I didn't have hardly a dime to my name. So I had enough for tuition and maybe some bread, But Brad and Candy were there, and they took me in the house, and it's great to be with my older sister. She's taken care of me in many ways that I've obviously needed, and not probably some ways where I probably have said, okay, enough, big sister. But like today, I was trying to keep my top button open or closed, and she reminded me I need to keep it tucked in at the top here. So honored to have Candy and Brad with us today, and I wanted to just start out with just family is so important to them. And it becomes a real easy topic for both of them to talk about because that's what they do every day. They've been doing it for so many years. They have 8 grandchildren, and they have two boys that are also married to their wives. And anyways, I just wanted to hear a little bit about Candy and Brad and just what they have meant to me and what they've meant to each other, and talking about legacy. That's really what the book's about, and I want to kind of find out from them what are the principles of them thinking about legacy and their family and why it's so important to them.
Okay, you want me to go first?
Well, yeah.
Well, first of all, I just want to say congratulations to my brother on such a spectacular job he's doing with documenting many of our family, the history, and things that have left imprints on not just his life, but my life too, because of being a sibling to Kenny. I feel we've had similar experiences. But as far as our family, of course, Brad and I started our journey together 42 years ago, and I believe that we both had great goals together and similar interest in knowing how important family is and our history and those influences that came along in both of our lives. We had phenomenal grandparents, parents, and wonderful people that came along our life at times that really imparted great wisdom to us. Of course, I will talk about my husband first, Brad, and all the things that he's a wonderful man, very blessed with many talents, and he has given so much of his life to others. And I believe that he has a true passion for young people. He has our entire marriage. He, for many years, was working with youth through our church, and also has coached for many, many years in the high school level. His passion, of course, has been football, track, and basketball. And I can only tell you he's influenced hundreds and hundreds of young people's lives and been such a positive influence to them, not just about learning their skill in sports, but just about everyday practical things, and then the value of making good choices for their life. He's been there for many young men that have gone through difficult times because of their family backgrounds or because of poor choices they made. And we've had many young people at our house for a variety of things, mostly to feed them and just impart into their life.
Let me interject here. I remember Kenny and Brad on a football game day, I believe, and they would bring them over to their house, and they would have dinner. And so, here's a whole football team or a track team or whatever, and here's Candy and Brad. They're making sure that team is fed with the parents, and they've lived and breathed giving. And Brad's been that way. So I'll piggyback off from what she said. Anything else on Brad?
Well, of course, it's we have a lot to talk about, but we'll keep it short. But I guess the main thing too is how he's imparted into our grandchildren. We have beautiful grandchildren, and they each have their own special personality. And Brad has been there in each one of their lives, and he has such a special relationship with each one. I think his grandkids really are his best friends, and whether it be at their events, their whatever's at school, or just training them and sharing his homemade songs that he makes up with them. Just a lot of fun, sweet memories that we've been able to do with our grandkids, go on vacations and trips. And we hope that they will take these things that we've taught them and gone forward.
Brad?
So it's my turn now?
Yeah.
I think Candy basically talked a lot about how we felt when we first got together. Family was important to us as we grew up, and so it carried over into our own lives. With Candy, I was fortunate to meet her when we were in the 7th grade, and then we basically, by our senior year, were dating, and then after that, of course, we went into our marriage. But when we went into our marriage, we had certain thoughts and ideals that we wanted to accomplish. So in that, what we did was we looked down and we said, what's our priority? And for us, family always was it. But the other thing I think was the strong faith that we have in our Lord and our God. I think the principles that we were taught growing up in that environment from two exceptional parents on both sides who were committed to teaching us that there was more to this life than what we see here now. I think that was part of the legacy that we started with and having been important in our life. And in that part, we tried to implant that into our sons and the people we come around. But I think for me, Candy has probably been one of the biggest influences on my life. I think that she's a woman of integrity, a woman of faith. She's definitely a woman of commitment and compassion. I think that's the thing that she brought to me. And she's also probably one, I've always told my other coaches, she's probably one of the most perfect wives to have as a coach, because you're always gone so much and always spending so much time either on basketball courts, football fields, or on tracks, and you're away a lot. But she encompassed and embraced the kids as much as I did. With our sons, we try to teach them the same thing, to have that compassion. And both my sons are that way. They're both committed to the community. We're very proud of them because they're both police officers, and their influence that they have on people. But Candy's influence not only extended from the football field, but carries on to the women that she comes in contact daily, her influence at her workplace, and it goes back to the qualities that I said that she's about. She has integrity. She is compassionate. She just knows what she wants in life, and so she portrays that with a strong confidence. And in that, I would say that the influence that she's had upon our granddaughters and even our grandsons is tremendous. She has definitely instilled in them that there's more to this life than what's here as far as the relationship with the Lord. She's very committed about them having that relationship so that they can carry on other people. I think those are some of the things that have made our marriage and our life and us being able to have influence on other people, because it stems from that driven faith. I really think that's
no question. And Michael, and everybody who's in the audience out here, I think the biggest thing that I sense from my sister Candy too, she's worked with women, and she actually did a book on and what was the name of the book?
There more, and it was a testimonial of 12 different women from our church and their life journey of how they came to the Lord, and many different stories of how they lived their life from different backgrounds. And so we go to church a lot of times with people Sunday after Sunday, and we really never take the time to find their journey and how they got there. And a lot of times you can be sitting next to someone and you really don't know their past and what's happened. And that's what happened to me. And as the leader of the women's ministry, I decided I wanted to get to know some of our women in our church better. So I sat down with each of them that I felt that I wanted to talk to and get to know more. And so it was a learning experience for me, and it was wonderful. And I just put all those, it was kind of like sweet letters together, and we gave it out to our new people that would come to our church. And it was just a wonderful experience to go through and find out just how people have lived their life. And that's similar to how this book is. And documenting how we've come through the journey that we've come through and how we can pass it on to the next generation. It's a wonderful thing. I guess that's the greatest decision I ever made, was when I was 11, to go up front to an altar and dedicate my life to the Lord. And it's protected my life from many things, but it's also opened the door to some wonderful opportunities to be able to be in service for the Lord. I guess I would just like to say our family, and I think how we were raised, we weren't ever a bench warmer in church. We were, by example, we were shown how to be involved in ministry of anything that we could use. And that was blessings to our life and brought in many wonderful, great relationships that we probably would have never had the opportunity to have. So we're blessed.
I want to, before I conclude, I want to talk about one last thing, and I think this is probably a way of concluding our discussion today. But Kenny and Brad have just an exceptional child that is one of their grandchildren, and all of them are exceptional, but this one is really special to both their heart. I just want them to just take a minute and explain the exceptionalness of this one grandchild that they have and what he's been able to accomplish in his short life. So I'm going to let Brad share just a little bit about him, because it's this, you don't want to miss this last segment of what we're talking about here. It's pretty amazing.
Well, we have, like Kenny said, we think all our grandchildren are exceptional. But we have one grandson who, when he was born, we discovered that he was blind. And so at that point, with a family never dealing with that, at first it's kind of a great impact that you have to deal with, and it settles into you. And then at that point, you start thinking, what is his limitations, and what's he going to be able to do? I think if we're talking about people to influence, I would say that my grandson has probably had a great influence on me in many areas of his life, because what he has done is shown us that you don't really have to have your eyes to see and to be involved in life. He's fearless. He attempts everything. Me being a coach, of course, he's fallen in love, and his dad as well. He's fallen in love with sports. And so everybody at first would think that he would be limited in that area. But what we've discovered is that he is just so outgoing in that area and attacks it with fearlessness. In fact, he started out, he's played baseball, he's plays basketball, he wrestles at that point. In fact, he just came off being a part of a state championship team this last year at Davison. He right now is pole vaulting. And
you had pole vaulting.
so people look at me and think, when we started doing this, when I first found out he was blind, I started looking at what avenues we could do and so forth. And so his mentality has always been, show it to me, let me work at it, I'll eventually conquer it and overcome it. And I can tell you that when I was coaching basketball, I would take him in and show him, and I'd actually have him shoot for my players so that they could see that they could be pretty good at the free throw line. And if I set him on a free throw line, he's going to be probably 8 out of 10 shots or 9 out of 10 shots from the free throw. And then he dribbles the ball well as well. He can play, and so we have a great time with that. But the pole vaulting aspect was something new to us, and so he's doing really well with that. We have other coaches look at me, and when they come, they don't even realize he's even blind. And when they find out that he is blind and he's jumping, they almost go, this is almost insane, because even kids who see have struggled with this opportunity. But he's done a great job. But the other thing is that he has a passion for whatever he does. And so at that point, I think that's the strength of Bradley. He sees things, and it's like that saying, he sees where we might say he can't, but he sees and says, why not? And how can I do it?
Sure.
maybe.
Well, Bradley absolutely is an exceptional child. And I would say the thing that I do like to share about Bradley is his heart for God. He loves going to church. He loves what he calls his church music. He's learned to play piano, saxophone, and now learning trumpet. So he's very musically talented. And this year, for the first year, he's now 15, and he wanted to be part of the marching band at school. So this is a new challenge, but as with everything, the word that comes around that describes Bradley by everybody is he's amazing. And I would just like to encourage anyone that has a child or grandchild that has exceptional needs, don't limit them. Support them in every aspect of their dreams, and just be there for them.
I think you can see, we'll close at this, but I think you can see why I have such an amazing and exceptional family is that we've been a part of a lot of things of helping family make sense. A lot of people, we've not let challenges define us. And I want to encourage you that are going through something in your own life, don't let those challenges define you. Let God and His Word, and let those that support you on your own vision and your own legacy story, let them define you. Thanks so much for this time with us, and I hope you have a great day, and we'll look forward to coming back in.
Life Imprints Podcast. Legacy stories that live beyond. Turn up the volume on today's riveting story with your host, Kenny Mauck, at kennymauck.com. And leave your life imprint with your legacy story.